Have you heard of planting by the signs? Well, today we're going to talk about what that means and how you can use this method of planting by the signs in your garden. If we haven't met yet or it's been a while, hello, beautiful friends. My name is Stephanie Bandozik. I am in beautiful upstate New York, traditional land of the Ganyaga Mohawk Nation territory. It's Garden Zone 5B. I have a beautiful American Staffordshire Terrier named Clarabelle, who you might hear barking in the background at some point because folks are celebrating the 4th of July a little early in my neighborhood, as is customary where I live. So there is some background noise that she may be alerting to, and that's okay. That's just how she talks, right? So if you are tuning in, I would love to know where you're coming from and what is it like in your neck of the woods today. It was a gorgeous day here after a very, very cold weekend. It was a very cold, very unseasonably cold. It felt like fall. Saturday, it barely got up to 60 degrees, and it's been in the 70s and 80s. It was really a wild change. But it was a really good weekend. I went to a town called Gloversville, which is about 45 minutes from where I am. And I was surprised, very pleasantly surprised. I hadn't had an opportunity to be in Gloversville in a long time. And the part that I was familiar with is more of a rural / industrial area. But this was kind of like Main Street, Gloversville. And it was really cool. There were some great shops, some cafes. There was a theater called The Glove, which has a variety burlesque style show regularly. And I went there for a really cool cafe called the North Star Cafe. But although it's called the North Star Cafe, there's also books and art and gifts and all kinds of things. Really groovy people. The folks that ran it and worked there were really, really nice, very welcoming. The gentleman who owns it is an artist, and the woman who is working behind the counter is a local, and so just really knowledgeable about the area and very friendly and welcoming. So highly recommend that you hit them up if you're in the area. If you get a coffee or a snack, or as I said, there were some really cool gifts. And also check out be on the lookout for special events. The reason that I made the trip there was they had a local speaker who's quite well accomplished talk about his YouTube channel. And so we were learning a little bit about how we can grow on YouTube if that's something that interests you. And so they've got lots of events going on. I would really check them out. So planting by the signs is something that I didn't actually get any planting done this weekend, but I spent a lot of time in the garden today because it was gorgeous today. And I did spend a lot of time doing a lot of watering. It's been very dry here, so we really have to water. That's really important to our garden. And we always want to do the very best we can in our garden, but we don't want to stress ourselves out to the point where we don't act, right? So when we talk about these methods like planting by the signs, it's an ideal situation. It's a best case scenario. But if you cannot make this work with your schedule, with the weather, with whatever is going on in your life, health-wise or family-wise, it's better to just get a seed in the ground. Okay, let me say that first because I do not want you to get overwhelmed to the point where you don't act, right? But planting by the signs is a really long-term. Haudenosaunee and other Native American folks have used it. You'll find it in the Farmer's Almanac. If you talk to any just old-timer farmers, they will talk about planting by the signs, and they're talking about planting by the moon. So they're choosing what they're going to plant based on the phase of the moon. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to be aware of the moon, right? In local Haudenosaunee culture, we call her Grandmother Moon. So what is Grandmother Moon doing in the sky right now? Is she waxing, which means she's becoming bigger and bigger? She's growing in the sky. She's between the phase of the new moon and the full moon. Or is she waning? Is she getting smaller in the sky? Is she going from the full moon to the new moon? So those are the two main phases we want to work with here. We want to work with the waxing moon and the waning moon. And when the moon is waxing, so when that moon is growing fuller, we want to plant our crops that we're going to grow up, right? So things like tomatoes, things like peas, anything that you want to grow up and really concentrate on the growth going up, that is going to be a waxing moon plant. So we're going to try to plant those when the moon is waxing, and that's between the new moon and it's growing towards the full moon. And then we want to plant anything that we want to grow down and really strongly down into the ground. Things like your carrots, your radishes, your turnips. These are going to be planted during the waning moon. So as the moon is getting smaller in the sky from the full moon to the new moon, that's when we want to plant those root vegetable crops. But again, this is a best case scenario. It is so important to be taking control of our food right now. I just can't express to you how much we need to be growing food. There are some really crazy things going on with the supply chain. We have gas prices sky high. We have inflation like we have literally never seen before. And now there are a lot of accounts of gardeners, particularly small gardeners, backyard gardeners, independent gardeners, getting bad soil. The soil is particularly affecting nightshades. So your tomatoes, your potatoes, your eggplants. It's even affecting sunflowers. And it's at a terrible, terrible time. Like, it couldn't be a worse time, right? We have a record number of food plants being destroyed, being hit with disasters, natural disasters, including plane crashes in some cases, right? I think there's been up to 20 or so in the last few months. And now we have the food shortages because of the conflict in Ukraine and Russia. And we have supply chain issues because of lockdowns in China and fuel shortages here in the States. And now we have home gardeners being given soil that is terribly contaminated. Not only is it ruining crops, but it's not, whatever contaminant is in the soil is not showing up on tests. So even like really reputable soil companies who are trying to take responsibility and being like, we'll compensate you the money, we will, try to rectify this. They're testing the soil, and whatever this contaminant is, whatever chemical this is not showing up in tests. But it's ruining folks' soil. It's ruining their crops. And this could cause people not to eat. So, it's so important. I cannot tell you, when I drive around now and I see grass, it's like a blessing and a curse. Like, in one respect, I'm like disgusted because it's grass. And why are we planting this? If we're going to, no monoculture, no, one crop is good. But grass is like the worst that you could be planting. The worst of the worst. We don't want to monocrop anything. But when I think of how much room we have, how much land, if that grass was ripped up and we were planting edibles, and even if you don't have the ability for whatever reason, you don't feel like you can, grow tomatoes, or you don't feel like you can grow, something that takes a little more care like that, put some herbs in the ground, like put in some perennial herbs, things like mint, things like lemon balm, things like oregano, sage. At least have herbs that you can use to flavor what food you have, or maybe you could barter and trade with someone who grew a lot of one crop and has things to share. But If you grow a lot of one or two vegetables, you're going to get tired of eating them the same way over and over and over. So if you can grow anything, concentrate on what you love to eat. Also concentrate on what you grow well. So I'm still not having good luck. Of course, this is only my third year planting anything. My second year with my entire yard pulled out and just crops, right? But only my third year planting, but I'm not having good luck with peppers. I've tried hot peppers and sweet peppers. I think I tried only sweet peppers my first year. Did not do well. Last year I tried sweet peppers and hot peppers. Again, didn't do great. This year I've got sweet peppers and hot peppers, and again, they're not looking so hot. I'm going to keep trying, but at some point I'm probably going to give up, and I'm going to either make that the one thing that I buy at the farmer's market, or of course I have the community garden. I'm really blessed to be a member of my local community garden. If you have a community garden near you, I cannot recommend to you enough that you get involved. Also check them out. I have 2 local community gardens near me. The one that has a physical space closest to my home is not run in the way that I would want to participate. So the way that I have traditionally known that a community garden runs is that you rent a plot, right? You pay a certain fee, you get a plot of land, and what you plant in that and how you take care of that is up to you. And that's how the local closest to me community garden runs. And that doesn't interest me because I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the time pre-2020 to devote, and I have a yard. That wasn't, really, it wasn't the space that was keeping me from gardening. It was the skills and the skills and the confidence. It's, almost everything starts really with your mindset. And I just didn't know it would be something I would enjoy. That was, again, the blessing and the curse of 2020 is having that time not being able to do what I would be normally doing, telling stories and teaching dance and being out in the community leading meditation classes and things. I had a chance to try gardening. Luckily, I found the community garden that I am loving being involved in. This is my second season with the Schenectady Urban Farms. I have to travel just a couple of minutes further away to get to their gardens, but we garden in community. So we have 3 beautiful locations. I believe that they're all about 0.6 of an acre, and all of the members can go to whichever open hours at whichever location work best for us. And then when the harvest comes in, we share. So in my mind, I think of it kind of like a working CSA. Because in my mind, again, when I think community garden, and the way I really fell in love with community gardens was Ron Finley's Can You Dig This? It's a great movie. It's a wonderful documentary. Can You Dig This? And I had fallen in love with that. I think it came out in 2015. And it's about Ron Finley starting, the gangster gardener starting the community gardens in LA. And that was, again, it kind of looked like the kind where you rent your little plot. If that works for you because you know how to garden and you just need the land, then please do that. Like, grow food. But if you can find the kind that I am involved in, where you work in community, I can't tell you how valuable that is because, again, you're networking with other people. These are not just any people. These are people who have gardening skills or gardening interest or very likely other interests and things surrounding food sovereignty like organics and dehydration and canning and maybe medicinal herbs or crafts. A lot of them are interested in things like a lot of the gardeners I've met are also interested in things like quilting. And so, you're building a network of people who can share skills and can share the fruits of their labor. And you can, again, barter and trade. And that's just, that's so, so, so important. So I want to encourage you to learn more about gardening and find the things that are fun for you, find the things that work for you. Just because it works for one person might not work for you, might not work for what you're growing, might not work for your soil, might not work for your climate and your temperatures. So planting by the signs is something I try to do, but I don't always get to it. Like sometimes the moon, changes phases and the weather has been really bad, or I've been really busy with my mom. My mom has dementia. She is blessed to still be able to live in a small home on her own with a lot of support from me and other family members. And so, I'm busy with my mom. I've got Clarabelle. I've got work. I've got lots of things going on. And so I don't always get to garden 100% when I want to. If the phase passes by, I'm not going to not plant. I'm still going to plant, even though it's not the ideal time to plant by the signs, but I'm still going to plant. But whenever possible, I do plant by the signs. So I want to encourage you to learn about that and other gardening methods, like I said, that may interest you, whether they're more scientific and, traditional things like the lasagna method and no-till, or whether they're a little bit more, hippie, woo-woo, emotional, energy-based, like planting by the signs. Not that there isn't science behind the moon, right? If Grandmother Moon can move the entire tides, we are also a lot of water, right? A high percentage of our bodies are water. And so there's that, everything is connected. Everything is energy. You want to always do the best you can, but don't ever let not being perfect stop you from taking action. It's so important to take action. It's more important that you get things done than that you get them done 100% the way you would like. So reach for the best, but, give yourself some grace to not always be perfect, because no one is perfect. So I would love to know, what are you gardening? What are you growing? Do you need any support? I want to help you out. If I can answer any questions, I will. If I can congratulate you because you're having success, I definitely want to do that too. It is so important that we celebrate each other and that we work together. We were meant to work together in community and in nature. So I want to support you in any way possible that I can to help you to reduce stress and increase your positive energy through self-care, through community care, and through environmental stewardship. If you find any of this useful, I would be so grateful if you let me know, if you gave me a comment, if you liked the video, if you shared it with a friend who might find it helpful or useful too. It would mean the world to me. I thank you so much for spending time with me today. As always, I send you my love, light, peace, blessings, and joy. Please take care of yourself, and please take care of each other.